Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Champagne, a French premium battleship. And this is a very unique ship. So we're going to go ahead and talk about it here. The commander, we are using Gerard with Iachino and Cunningham. You do not need any range with this ship. You could build into range and do one of them like meme-esque builds, but grouping is what helps you a lot on this ship, and borer is his base trait, and also flammable cannoneer, gyrating drill bits, marksmanship, and reaching out XXL. If there was anything else helpful here, I probably would take it, but there's not. If you're building on the ship. Now, I will say I will be in the future, this point moving forward, switching to Dunkirk because I'm not using her on my secondary ships because I like having secondary ships that main guns work, and this is an awesome build for that. But for your skill set over here, going to be a very similar as you can see here. And we are going to be Cannoneer. This frontal fire is awesome because you can switch your guns in like 1 or 2 seconds between HE and AP. So I would definitely recommend that and getting the additional heal. But if you have Dunkirk, probably would go that route. So for your modifications, aiming systems mod 1, propulsion mod 2 is always a very interesting thing. I am not a proponent of target acquisition. Okay, just don't. I don't have it on any ship. Would never put it on any ship. This is the one ship I would consider it because your range is so good on this. You would need that extra spotting range. Because you can shoot definitely over 20 kilometers with this ship if you want. So you could, I guess, stealth shoot people, quote unquote, but not really my play style. Okay. Um, so I would go with concealment mod and then also main battery mod 3. So for your loadouts, you have 3 solid heals, 2 reload boosters, and I would not switch this personally. Getting the reload down a little bit on this ship is not a bad thing. It has a slow reload. We'll talk about that here in a second. And these engine boosts. So one thing I will say, because you will not see this in my match, this ship is extraordinarily good at flanking people. Like it is playing at range and flanking people. What this ship is really good at. It has amazing accuracy. Okay, but but it isn't always the case, and we're going to showcase it on our match today. Survivability doesn't have a lot of health. Okay, 57,000 health, a little on the low side, obviously. Guns. This is where this thing freaking shines, guys. It has 16-inch guns, 20 kilometers, and you guys saw I'm not even building into range. You could definitely get these to 22, maybe even 24 if you went real crazy. I would never do that. I just not my play style. But the reload at 24 seconds, which sounds like it's really good, but you only have 6 guns. That would be very much like Iowa reloading at 36 seconds, right? So not great reload. Decent 180 turn time and a shell damage at 6,700 with 49% chance to start fires. And one thing I will say about French battleships, the HE is super underrated in them, particularly the fire chances. Now, should use AP most time 100%, but the HE is not nothing to sneeze at on these ships, and I feel like it does. Some people overlook the HE on these ships. That being said, the AA defense is it's not terrible, but it's not as good as normal French battleships. So just keep that in mind. If you get targeted, it's going to be rough. Your maneuverability, not bad. Solid speed, everything else is about average, and your concealment is 13.3. You are not going to sneak up on a dead moose in open water, okay? And nor would you really want to in this ship. Standard, you can see Even though my win rate is bad, I've only had 3 matches, but my stats have been relatively um, great. You know, they're not bad, right? 100,000 each match and potential damage against me 1 million. Now, I wouldn't recommend having that much potential damage against you in this ship, but that's my play style. Like, I take a lot of heat normally, and the main gun accuracy is 49%. That is right, 49% on a battleship, which for me is pretty high. I think the only more accurate battleship in the entire game is Constellation, and that's only because of the plotting room that it gets as an American battleship. Otherwise, this is right there, right? This is it. And honestly, you could make the argument because of the shell velocity. These guns shoot in a straight line like Russian battleships, right? You might shoot 20 kilometers, but it's going to get there like you shot an American battleship at 5. Okay? These are not lobby shells. They're very straight line and very accurate, right? So just remember that. And because of that being so easy to aim, because you don't have to lead much with these, it can do some incredible things. Now, you got to be careful of overpins in this ship when you're shooting, but we'll talk about that a little bit in the match. Now we're going to go over here. We're going to put all this armor on it, right? So I want to show you guys something here. You do obviously have the 32 millimeter bow and stern at the tier, making you overmatch or get the only thing that overmatches you would be Musashi, and if for some reason you decide to put yourself in a failed division, Yamato, okay? But if you put yourself in a failed division, you deserve everything that you're gonna get. Now, you take off the bow and stern, and you're going to see here, we do have the side plating. Now, everybody confuses the side plating with the belt. It's not the belt, right? Like, it's side plating. You do have a much stronger protection to your citadel under it. That being said, though, right, when you have this, all this orange here, right, I can tell you the one thing I learned quickly, and the one thing that I did struggle with in this ship, is HE pens you everywhere, right? You're going to be taking HE damage everywhere. So basically, unless they hit your turrets, most ships are going to be able to pen you with HE. So you do got to be careful with that, okay? Outside of that, we're going to pull this up here. As you can see here, I guess this is called the casemate armor. But anyway, it does have a turtleback, right? But it's not a full turtleback. As you can see, the citadel isn't angled. And when it's not a full turtleback, you don't necessarily get the protection that full turtleback does get. But I will say, if you do have to get close in, this ship is not as bad as it's made out to be, right? You have this turtleback, which does help some. I'm not saying it's a good turtleback, but it does help. And then also, you have a very small citadel for a battleship, right? You only have 2 turrets, that it's going to stretching between. Also, you notice it's a narrower turtleback than or a narrower citadel than a lot of ships. It has a little bit of an angle that you do have to be a little bit careful on the side, but not very. I have not had a problem with getting citadel, not even at range, because if you can see, there is a lot of freeboard on the side of this, making it tough to plunge down into, right? Very small citadel. It's tough against AP. I would say not nearly as tough against HE. It's one of the weird times you will hear me say that. But it's solid outside of that. If you're going against other battleships, this is a great ship. If you're going to go against HE spammers, this can be very tough. As we start the match, it's disclaimer time. This is a beginner's video meant to help people new to the ship or new to the game. This is not meant for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything in the universe. There are multiple ways to play and build this ship. And I am an above average player, not the world's best. I make mistakes. You may see one in this match. You didn't come here for pronunciations. I'm as good as anybody at slaughtering beautiful languages all the time. with that out of the way, we are on shards here, and this is gonna be interesting. I spawn in the middle here, guys, and I'm trying to play it at range, but I'm not gonna bail on the middle, right? I see a lot of people do this, even this ship, which is not necessarily something you want to spawn in the middle. I am looking to get crossfires, and a lot of times on this map you will. And I will say this ship is best played at range, like I mentioned earlier. But we're not going to get this opportunity to go ahead and sit and do that. We're going to be careful here in the beginning, hoping we can catch somebody off guard. But we're not going to get that lucky. And what's going to happen is we're going to have to make an adjustment. And that's why I wanted to showcase this match. It's very easy to show playing a match, right, at range. Like, all you got to do is sit at range and fire away. And you could do very well with that. And you will see some range here at the end of the match just to showcase it some. But at first here, you can see I'm being careful. I'm not backing up or doing anything crazy like that, but I'm not going to go too far forward for just a minute. And the reason is my destroyer has made some callouts that has made me really wary, like need support, and also I need I need to have spotting. You're the destroyer. You should be the one spotting, right? So that being said, I already know that our destroyer might have might be a tough time. Now, this is what I want to showcase, guys. At 14, by the time he gets there to be 15, look at, we've put out 6 shells on a destroyer, and we hit 2 of them. That is what I like about this ship. For something that I like to hit destroyers, this thing is pretty good at it. Right? First shot out of the gate is a destroyer. Now, obviously, we've seen a lot of people. They're outside of our range a little bit. We got to push up, right? We got to get crossfires. I'm trying to get rid of Hood, right? Hood is kind of a threat in the middle of the match. And it looks like C's fighting their side, but it looks like no, everybody's sitting behind at the island at A, and nobody's going to get spotting at A. So we're going to push up and try to help the A flank while we're over there. Now, I didn't realize at this point, I couldn't have guessed that everybody was going to bail away from the C side. And that's pretty much what's going to happen. But you're going to see here, we're going to get our shot here on the Hood. And we've had a slow start, right? 4 minutes of nothing. But that is going to change very rapidly because I'm going to showcase this ship a little bit if you have to play it up close and personal. Like I said, really easy to play a ship at range and showcase how to do that. It's not hard. You just sit at range and be careful of, just getting dev struck. It's not even that hard to do. But for this match, we're going to have to get up close and personal, and we're going to work on getting crossfires for our teammates. As you can see, they are kind of sitting by islands quite a bit. Now, this Constellation, I love Constellation, and it is one of my absolute favorite ships. But I would say this would be a poor idea of what to do in a Constellation, because you do not want to just go rushing in. And you can see we overpin a battleship at 10 kilometers. And that's kind of the theme of this ship, is sometimes you're going to overpen some crazy scenarios, okay? Now, he's starting to give up his broadside a little bit, and that is going to make him definitely not last too long to me. There we go. We get 2 full pins, and our guns are a little off sequence, but you can see we're starting to absolutely obliterate him, right? That was basically 1 full salvo with our guns, and we did get rid of them. So next up is these cruisers, and I want you to pay attention to what happens to my health, and this is why I wanted to show this match. Watch these cruisers that are firing HE at me absolutely wreck me here. Now, I thought I could get away with this here. We're going to go to HE. I thought they were going to hide behind the island. Azuma does an amazing job of actually just stopping to keep me spotted, and you can see my health. No matter what I'm doing right now, these cruisers, this HE is shredding me. And you gotta be real careful with that, because even if you angle, they can still pen you. Okay, there's a lot. This ship is just everywhere you go, it can be penned. Now you can see we're close in. You can see Iowa, even Iowa struggled on our belt line when we're angled, and we are absolutely gonna wreck him. So even though it doesn't look like a lot, hitting 4 shells, we're only putting 6 shells down range every time we fire a gun. So just keep that in mind. You can see it. It's not necessarily a DPM monster because of the reload, but I will say it, man. When you get used to these guns, and this was, I believe, my 3rd match in it. I'm telling you, now that I have a feel for this ship a little bit more close in and not just at range, sure, you can sit out at range and just do damage, but you're not going to always be able to do that in every match. And we weren't able to do that, and we took these crossfires over here, and we absolutely destroyed them. But you can see dealing with the HE has not been good for my health. Okay, so kudos to Munchin and Zuma here for getting rid of me. And you're gonna see we're gonna take a shot here at Munchin, and we're gonna get overpin, right? So that's the one thing, is you have to shoot cruisers almost when they're at an angle. If you're gonna shoot, like for example here at Azuma, we're gonna go right through the front of the ship because we want to have the long part of the ship. We almost don't even want to try to go for that. You can see we even overpin on the front of the ship, just going completely through the ship at this distance. So I did want to showcase this because it is very important, because this ship overpins cruisers like crazy. Is very good against other battleships, and it can struggle against other cruisers, but you can see we're going to go ahead and just murder them. But you can see even there, 1 overpin on a full, directly angled at us cruiser. So, but you can see very quickly we have 100% made this not a fair match, right? We just, in the span of what, less than 5 minutes, we helped either get rid of or got rid of 5 people on their team, and pretty solid, right? We got the crossfires, but our team has all clumped together and followed me over here. So we're gonna go ahead and work our way back out. Now, I'm not gonna follow my battleships in the middle. Why is that? I want crossfires. Also, this thing is better at range, and also I am lacking on the health department right now. But you're going to see here, we're going to take some shots at Gneiseno, and you can see you do not have to lead. And that's one thing that catches me off guard with this ship, is not leading. Like, it's very interesting you don't have to lead, and we do a pretty decent chunk to him. Now, there's Vladdy out at range. We're going to take a shot at him, because you cannot lob almost anything in this ship. That's the one thing I should mention, too. These guns are awesome, but you can't lob anything. If you're to try to lob anything as we get our high caliber, you have to be careful. So, also, we know the destroyers in front of us, or in between us and Gneiseno, or we're guessing that because we've been spotted even when the island was, when Gneiseno was behind the island. And we are going to go ahead and take a good chunk out of Gneiseno getting another assist. So clearly we've helped our team out. Now, had I been able to, I would have definitely taken a shot at that Summers, and he would have been gone. That's, I think, the Summers we hit earlier. But there's a Summers spotted, and nobody's shooting their main guns really at him. And this is going to come back to hurt me a little bit. So, we are going to go ahead and push up and try to not be on the side of this. Now, I was hoping this Shining Horse was going to go ahead and try to spot, but this destroyer is going to actually run away from him. And he's going to be out in front of me already, meaning I'm thinking he's in front of me. You're going to see I'm going to point my ship here, and this is going to be actually a problem. It does force me to come in a little bit, and we're going to just work our way up. Now, basically, the match is over once we just absolutely wreck that other side. So, not a lot going here, so I'm not overly concerned, but we want to help get rid of Vladdy, and I'll be honest, I really did want to kill this destroyer, because that's like my main goal in every match, besides winning, is take out destroyers. It's one of the most important things. And this ship, if you get a destroyer within your range, you're going to absolutely do that. So we're going to go ahead and take a shot at this Vladdy. This Vladdy is completely broadside to our whole team. I don't know why he's not dead right now, to be honest with you. There is definitely battleships in range of him, and he is flat bar broadside. This was not an ideal maneuver. And you can see the destroyer did get spotted over my left side, so we're going to turn. But I do have to be careful that I don't go full broadside to Vladdy, because Vladdy is another ship that can absolutely pummel you, given the opportunity, right? Like, Vladdy's not a bad ship at all, and he's going to go ahead and shoot HE at us. Oh, man. But we're going to get reloaded here, and there's torpedoes coming. And honestly, not much I could do there. Probably shouldn't have charged the destroyer, but I wanted to actually kill it. So it is what it is. The match was over at this point. And you're going to see we're going to go ahead and get rid of them. That destroyers is going to run and hide like a lot of destroyers do at the end of the match. But this is just a showcase of how to play the ship when you're not able just to play it at range, right? Playing at range, pretty simple. You can aim at belt lines at distance. Like, you can Citadel ships at 19 kilometers aiming at a belt line with this ship. It's one of the few ships that exceeds at it, actually. But not always going to be able to play that way, and then showing you a way of not just bailing on the middle right away because it wasn't perfect. We're, just showing you a different way to play. Most importantly, helping our team win, obviously, which is a big thing, and having ourselves a pretty solid game. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time, folks. Have a good one.